Hi, it's Steve and Jo from Freshagenda with another weekly update, Steve. And this week we've got a fairly interesting GDT result to discuss.
We have, amidst all the extreme negativity around the world market, GDT surprised, it rose. A small index gain, first time in 2 months. But, big news, I guess the big news across the milk powders was that China's back. And things returning to normal. I mean, we're hearing a lot of anecdotal stories about the fact that China's business activity is back up near normal, whatever normal is now. There's still a lot to do with, there's still a lot of restrictions on people movement, and a lot of people still staying indoors and being fairly cautious.
Yeah.
But the market's moving. And if we look at the impact, what we show there is a couple of indicators out of the GDT result. No numbers on the left-hand side for certain parts of the audience that might look at those charts, but just showing the trends in participation, both whole milk and skim milk powder. So
it's a big bounce back in terms of China's activity on the platform. But we're really seeing this strong preference for New Zealand origin product coming through in this latest result.
Yeah, and I guess part of it is there is probably some backlogs in Europe and probably some difficulties with the logistics getting out of European ports, maybe part of it. We've got some preferences there that are probably locked in or baked into customer requirements as part of that as well. But the difference between European and New Zealand prices now, that was extreme in this result.
Yeah, it looks a bit silly when you see it lined up there. There's well ahead of European and New Zealand and European and US comparable products. Yeah.
A little bit of devil in detail. The high-level published results are a bit confusing because there's mixed product in that result. There's instantized whole milk powder. There's different specs for skim milk powder, and when that mix changes, the averages that are published tend to be a bit misleading.
Yep.
But like for like, whole milk powder and skim milk powder both put gains on for New Zealand product.
So it was even better than the high-level numbers would indicate. Yep.
That's what we'd suggest. So as we say, crazy differences in the regions now. I mean, the status of the differences in butter prices and skim milk powder is, levels that you'd think over several months that's unsupportable.
Yeah, well, the other thing, we're in seasonally low volumes being offered on the platform. I think this is the lowest volume offered since June last year. And so if there are those gaps, as you say, in supply chain, logistics, people needing to secure product, then, it's perhaps understandable.
Yeah, and I think some of the, some noises going off in the background here, which we'll ignore. I think part of it is why we're seeing such a comeback from China, of course, is prices are quite attractive. Their local cost of milk is fallen a little bit with surplus, but it's still the advantage for imported New Zealand product is quite large.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a factor. Some big developments in the US.
Possible developments.
Yes. The fact that they're possible is a development. So the industry put out an announcement, industry being IDFA and NMPF.
So they are lobby groups for processors and co-ops.
Yeah. The challenge being, the claim is there's 10% too much milk. So there's probably debates raging about whether that number's right or not. We think it's pretty close, 10 or 11% right at this time in the month of April. So there are more than five elements. There's plenty of elements in the plan.
It's a detailed proposal, isn't it?
Yeah, quite a lot. So the incentive to cut milk production is, I guess, the most interesting one, because it's suggesting the government would pay $3 a hundredweight, which is nearly 7 cents a kilogram US. On 90% of milk if there's a 10% cut in production. It equates to about, in US terms, about $1.35 a hundredweight advantage. Is that enough to take out 10%? That's going to be a big question. That cuts out at about 35 cents a kilo, or $16 in American language. So things to think about. We understand there's a lot of opposition to this from early correspondence with the US in response. There's also the fact that 30-40% of milk is in insurance programs.
Yep. So very little interest in cutting production. They've already managed their risk and they're in the insurance programs they can be in.
Particularly those larger farmers who use futures and options coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's the issue of, do incentive programs actually deliver a cut in production? And there isn't any history of such a deep cut. This is way beyond anything we've seen in the past, even proposed. Second part is the purchase of product, suggesting a £170 million cheese purchase as part of that. Cheese is where obviously the part of the big problems are in terms of oversupply.
Yep.
That's less than a month's production at this time of year, and that's that will take out a little. Certainly, I would contribute to it. There's also a suggestion for £360 million of milk. They seem big numbers when you just say it like that.
Yeah.
That's actually 10% of 1 month in the US. So, again, it might help, might not be enough. The other elements there's compensation for milk being dumped, the SNAP food subsidies, suggesting that those subsidies be increased. I think the industry quoted about 11% of that spending goes on dairy products. So they're urging the government to push those out because it may help on the demand side. And
obviously in the wider context of economic issues that people are facing.
Yeah.
They could argue that.
That's right.
More nutrition.
So will that all be enough to change the dynamic? It'll take a while. This is only a proposal. Yeah,
if it's achieved, if it gets up, because there's any number of sectors that are feeling the pinch that will be knocking on Sonny Perdue's door, the USDA boss, and asking for help. So this is a proposal. It's certainly not been approved yet, and it's a big ask, that cut in milk production.
And if you add up all the requests from other sectors that are going to come, it's many times the amount of money available.
Absolutely.
So long way to go before that becomes a reality.
But it's certainly given the market some heart.
Gave it a bit of heart that there was willingness to cut production. So that brings us neatly to your chart of the week.
Yeah, this is a nice segue into that chart. And this is what a lot of the concerned people in the US industry are looking at, obviously, because those CME daily cheese prices have absolutely fallen off a cliff as that food service demand has basically evaporated with lockdowns in the US. And on the right-hand side is what it implies for Class 3 and Class 4 milk. Because that's the big driver of milk prices that farmers ultimately receive. And they are also heading off a cliff. So not happy times in the US for a whole range of reasons.
Yeah. Okay, the situation to keep watching. But that's all from us for now. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching.